Always have to remember to unmute my mic. I don't know what's going on up here, but welcome back, everybody. Conversations with a Millionaire. We are ready to give you the tools, man, the keys to get to that $1 million net worth mark. Sid Chase is back with us. The brother with the coolest car in America. You remember when he was on here last time, I showed you his Venom, and that car still meets me in my dreams. One day, I'm going to have a Venom car like Sid does. The link is in the chat. You're joining us on Facebook. You're joining us on YouTube. Either way, if you're on Facebook, definitely subscribe to the page, like the page, follow the page. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. In the comments, you'll see the link. This is an open show, so you'll be able to come on, ask your questions, have your comments. We're going to make sure we do this right. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm so excited to have all of you here with me today. Once again, Jason Brown, the Charlotte agent, and I am the broker in charge owner of Jason Brown Realty in Charlotte, North Carolina. But one of my passions, not just real estate, is interviewing millionaires to find out how did they get to where they are today? How did they get to that $1 million plus net worth? And I've learned so much. Many of you, the viewers, have learned so much. So we're back with episode 6 with my guy, the one and only Sid Chase. Let's go ahead and bring Sid Chase up to the stage. There he is. What's going on, Sid? I think you're muted. Go ahead and unmute your mic. Don't worry, I did the same thing. In my last broadcast, I was muted for like 14 minutes or something crazy. Let me put the unmute. There you go. I think we got you. Cool beans. What's going on, big guy?
I'm doing good, man. How you've been? It's been a little bit.
I know, right? It's been so long. I gotta find out when your next car show is, so I can come out there and just like sit in the Venom and just like stand beside it again. How's the car doing?
It's good. It's sitting in the garage. I'm at the house tonight, so it's sitting out in the garage, and actually haven't drove it in, I don't know, probably about 45, 50 days, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I haven't been driving. I haven't done a lot of shows this year.
Yeah.
Been relaxing.
It's been Yeah, I know. It's been relaxing. Well, for the listeners who may not have been tuning in when you were here, I think you were the very first episode for Conversations with a Millionaire. Actually, you were my first guest when you
look at that.
So go ahead and give a brief introduction of yourself for our listeners and viewers.
Hey guys, my name is Sid Chase, obviously, and I'm mostly a real estate and alternative investment consultant and also investor. I've been doing this for over 35 years. I dabble in mostly what I like to call hard assets or real assets. I also do the stock market, so we can talk about that tonight. I'll share some charts with you as well. I live in South Carolina on the East Coast side, over by Myrtle Beach, and have a farm, a 33-acre farm over there that is actually an active working farm. And in short, we're still building houses out here and still in the markets doing our thing and investing every chance we can get.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. So for our viewers, as well as you said, we are going live in several places. We are on LinkedIn. So that's the Charlotte agent or Jason Brown for LinkedIn. We're also going live on the Facebook page, and we are simultaneously going live on YouTube. If you in the audience should hear an echo or anything like that, please do let us know, and I will try to rectify that. So, Sid, when you were here last, we really just got the I'm sorry. Let me go back to it. You see down below, guys, that's the information for tonight. Sid's website is sidchase.com. And there you'll be able to find his merchandise, especially two great books. First book being No Bull Real Estate, and also what we'll go into a little detail, he'll go into a little detail later today, is the No Bull Guide to Making Money with some alternative uh, investments. And yes, I am reading these. I even had him to autograph mine, so that was super awesome. Sid, you're available for coaching, for training. I know for speaking. What else am I missing?
Consulting, if you're looking to get into some type of investment, you're not sure about what you're doing, what you're looking at. I
Mhm.
give a 20-minute free consultation. It's on the website, so anybody can sign up for that and book that, or just reach out to me through any of the venues that I have, Facebook, or I do have LinkedIn, though I'm not there very often. But
Okay.
you could just reach out to me, and I can help you with all of those things.
But they're probably the best bet just to go right to the website, Sid
Yep.
Chase, right?
Yeah, just
SidChase.com. That's
go straight to the website, reach me through there, and but I can help you if you're looking to get invested in something. You know, want to start investing for the first time, even if you're not sure, do I need a 401k or a Roth IRA or 501 or whatever it is you're doing, you know, or not sure what to do, or
Mhm.
you're already doing all those things and you're ready to take that next step. I can guide you on paths of things that you're looking at, or kind of direct you at some things that you should be looking at.
Right. Awesome. So on our first podcast, we got the lay of the land about Sid, introducing him to the audience, to my audience, even though his name is very well known. He's done countless talks. He's in demand. He's coach, counsel, consulted, did consulting for countless individuals and businesses. So in the first podcast, we got where he grew up, uh, his first employment opportunities there. Dabbed a little bit to the personal life with his beautiful wife, who I've met. That she's just an awesome woman as well. And then he took us through some of his first businesses that he started, the ebbs and flows, the pros and cons, the things that he learned. We went over to that day that he became a millionaire. What was that like? And yeah, we really just did a deep dive into your bio and into the businesses and how you got to where you are now. So tonight, per the subject, the title for this particular episode is why some millionaires, why some wealthy individuals are buying goats and gold. So, Sid, let's start with the goats
Okay.
uh, dynamic. Uh, I'll let you start because and I just so the audience knows him and I talk like just on conversations and we when we get on the phone we could talk for hours if he didn't have to go had so much work to do. So tell us about the goats, Sid. What have you done recently?
Yeah, so a while back, so basically, you know, COVID time frame, we came out of the COVID area, and I really, as being a builder here in Myrtle Beach, Orange County, South Carolina, and so on and so forth, and an investor flipping houses, and seeing the beat of what's going on, and talking to a lot of people, I started to realize that people were leaving the north, coming to the south to get away from, you know, some political stuff, but more importantly, I think they were getting away to get their freedom, as in, I want to buy more land, I want to be more self-sufficient, I don't want to be trapped by the government, I don't want to be told what I can eat, when I can't eat, you know, so on and so forth, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
So then I started realizing that being a farmer in the past, growing up as a farmer with my parents, or my parents were the farmers, I was just a manual labor. But knowing that part of the aspect of farming, um, my wife and I started looking at, maybe it's an idea of going forward to buy a farm, buy some land, and so that
Mhm.
we did, and we started putting animals on it, and we do a bunch of different things here. We still build houses, I still do investments, but I'm also, you know, we're on the working the farm,
Right,
and we realized that having a farm or a backyard homestead, you know, if you're in an HOA down here, you can't do what I'm talking about. But if you're on your own, you can, you know, and just having some of your own food available to you in case this ever happens again, right?
right.
Um, but for us, it kind of started like that a little bit. And then we started realizing that, in our area, there's, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people moving here or already here that don't
Mhm.
have that ability to do that, right? But they want to start living that cleaner life. And so we started providing the animals here. And one of those animals that we started providing is goats. So the goats for us work as a kind of a two prong attack, I guess you could say it. So we have commercial goats, which we serve Pico goats here, registered in commercial, and we also do Savannah goats, African Savannah goats here.
Right.
Again, also registered in commercial. So your registered goats, man, Jason, I was going to some of these auctions and some of these shows, and I was seeing people buying these registered goats for
Right.
like a minimum price was $500 for just a goat.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, we've come a long way
Yeah.
since I remember the old days of goats
Yeah.
being like $20. And then the more homework I did and the more I got invested into it, I started realizing that more and more people were buying these goats, and there was an opportunity to make money here if you could find the right bloodlines, right? And
Okay.
so, and I know a lot of people are thinking, well, I don't know a damn thing about goats or anything else in bloodlines.
Right.
Well, kind of either did we. But we, again, imply or put in place the same practices that I've been successful at building homes and successful at doing real estate and successful at gold and silver and writing books. I put those teams around me and I go talk to those people and get them to help me,
Okay.
and sometimes I pay for that. Sometimes it's a trade. And sometimes these people just do it out of the goodness of their heart because they want to see, this flourish, right? So
So
that's
you
what kind
still
of got us
you
started.
still had that learning curve, even though you grew up on a farm or had some farming, in your youth, you still had that learning curve because now you're actually going into, you know, um, taking care of these animals, breeding them and things like that. Now, can we double back real quick? Because I think the first question that they may have is, how did you finance this project and how did you acquire even the land to where this could even be something that you can even do? Like, how did you go about that?
Sure. So obviously, people who know who I am, right? It was a little bit easier for me to do because of the position that I have in life, right? That I've been blessed with. So
Mhm,
we bought a 33-acre farm about 20, 25 minutes outside of Myrtle Beach.
mhm,
And my wife actually is the one who picked this, and my daughter-in-law, Lexi. They picked this property. I wanted to be farther away, but they both liked it. They picked it, and they thought it
mhm.
would be a good location for one. The property was already zoned farming and agricultural, and so we bought the land. We cleared it enough to put our two houses on it, and then we started building the farm out from there.
And this was 33 acres.
33 acres in total. 30 acres are workable. So
Okay.
3 acres, the 3 acres we all live on, and then the other 30 acres is basically workable.
And for those listening in, I already know, but in terms of the ones that you live on, give them a quick backdrop on how you divided that and who's living on those parcels, and then we go back to the goats.
Yeah, so basically both properties are about an acre and a half or so,
Mhm.
and we just share a big driveway between us. We built our two houses. My son and his wife built his. We built ours. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. We as builders build both of them. They live in one. We live in the other. And then
Mhm.
everything behind us is all farm. So
Okay.
at the farm, just to give everybody a quick rundown, we do everything from goats, pigs, quail, chickens, turkeys, different types of chickens. We do eggs, we do quail eggs, we do pickled eggs. We process a lot of it. We sell live. The only thing we haven't got on the farm yet is cows, and the only reason the cows aren't here yet is, well, I should say two reasons. Number one is our fencing isn't quite ready for that yet, so we're
Right.
still building
Right.
that out. But number two, right now, it's everybody knows every time you go to the grocery store, right?
The cost.
A steak is a huge price, right? So I
Right.
was just at an auction yesterday, and you 1,200-pound cow. was running about $2.35 a pound. So you do the math, and that's what you're paying for a full cow. And then you still
Right.
have to bring it back. Now that cow is ready to be butchered or go to processing right then and there. So you could just actually take it from the auction, take it straight to the processor that you pick, and
Oh,
go.
really?
But if you do the math real quick, I'll do it for you. So if you got 235 in at the auction, for example, or
Mhm.
that's if you're buying one for an auction. You got 235, $2.35 in a pound, and then
Mhm.
the processor is going to charge you another, $3, $4 altogether, maybe a little bit more than that. So
Right.
you might have off the top of my head, somewhere, we'll say somewhere between $6 and $7 a pound, depending on what kind of cut you're looking for.
Okay.
But if you go to the grocery store, your max paying easy pay is $5 for ground meat, unless you're getting the cheap stuff that's no good. Um, and then I know when I go down to the processor, the butcher myself, the cold storage, for me to buy a ribeye, it's $12.99 a pound, right? So
Gotcha.
by doing, not everybody can do what we're talking about. Can go out and buy a farm. First of all, you don't need 30 acres. You could do it on a quarter acre, a half an acre. You're just going to be limited to what you can do, but that's okay because
Mhm.
if you're doing it just to provide your family with
Mhm.
some relief on your grocery bill, right? Yes, you got to pay for feed and things like that, but you're getting a lot healthier food.
Right. And
You,
it
you
and that's the thing that, the whole shutdown affected everyone regardless of their net worth or their income or their class status, whatever have you, is that when the grocery stores ran out of meat or ran out of toilet paper or ran out of, you know, uh, towels or any of these toiletries or needs, they were out, right? It affected everyone. I don't care if you do have, the DoorDash or some other type of delivering service. If it's not in stock, it's not in stock. So you have taken the opportunity in the possession in the position, excuse me, that you're in to set up a system so that you can essentially feed your family and feed yourself. Number one. Number two, you're on enough of an acreage where you have your own land. So, and it zones to allow all of this. So, therefore, if you have other projects you want to do, if you want to build a garage, let's say, work on cars, or if you want to, et cetera, storage units for helping people to store whatever, you have the freedom, is what I'm getting to be able to do that on your land. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So what kind of happens is you start out with one thing, and you start meeting other people in the same circles, farming circles, we'll say, right?
Okay.
And then
Okay.
other things, just like with you with being a real estate agent, you weren't a broker first. You had to go through the process, meet the right people, and have them help direct you, and
That's
those
correct.
opportunities came along, right? So I'll speak of an opportunity. So we're sitting at the auction house the other day and talking to some friends of ours, Crystal, and well, her husband wasn't there, but Crystal was there, and we're talking to her about, we got this goat that we kind of want to get rid of. Not that there's a problem; it's just not
Mhm.
what the direction that we thought we were going in. So now we need to move this goat on. And so what happened with that was they called me back the next day and said, "Hey, we'll take the goat. You want to trade for 25 or 30 chickens?" And so that's what I'm talking about. This stuff starts to happen for you and unfolds, and you kind of think you're going in one direction, but you end up going in another direction because of the opportunities that present themselves along the way.
Right.
And that
Because
happens
you're
in
still
all.
learning along the way, as you said earlier. You didn't know how to necessarily manage all the different livestocks on this farm. You're learning as you go. And is it still some big mistakes that you've had over the course where, I don't know, you bought so many chickens and you fed them the wrong thing or something like that, and you kind of lost out on that? Have you had any, you know?
No, no. So I was farming when I was a young kid and into my teenage years before I left for the military with my family.
Okay.
Most of what they did was apples and pears and cows, and pigs. But when I lived in New York before I moved here, we had a small farm and we had chickens on and goats and things like that. So
Gotcha.
but I still have. Did I have I made mistakes? Yes. I did. I actually, it just happens. It's part of life, and think some of the mistakes you regret, and some of them are like, you know what, it just happened, and let's move on
Right.
and let fix it, and let's not do it again. But the whole background here, folks, is that you can do this to, one, just supplement some of your food costs, and teach your kids something new that they're not being taught in school, right?
Right.
And
Most
number
definitely.
two, that then may lead to something else, right? I don't know, maybe somebody online tonight knows how to bake bread, right? And we offer that here too. My wife's a great baker. She's amazing. She does bread and all kinds of stuff, and we sell them every week. So it can lead to other things,
Right.
and that's how you start. The first thing you're trying to do is pay for whatever it is you just did in the feed that you're feeding, and then the next thing you know,
Right.
oh my God, I can make a little money at this, and it might be just a side hobby. It doesn't have to be full time. It, but you're not quite as old as I am, Jason. You're tapping on my door, but
Right.
when I was growing up and had my parents, and even my children know this, right? We always had 4 to 6 months worth of food on hand in that house in case whatever happened,
That is
right?
that is such a cool point because I grew up similar to that. Back in the day, I'm not old, but back in the day, I remember in the utility room area where I grew up, we had a big utility room, and there was like that's where the washer and dryer were, but we had this big old freezer. And the meat guy would come through the neighborhood with his truck, and he had these frozen meats, and my parents would buy that and put it in this deep freezer that you had, and save it up. So you had your patties, sometimes they have french fries they'll get from the grocery store, but a meat guy would actually come by.
Right.
Sometimes a vegetable guy would actually come by. And I really missed those days. You really took me back there
Yeah.
very quickly. Now, quick question for you, Sid. What if someone is interested in this? They like it. They may have even been thinking about this after the lockdown and say, you know what, I need to make some changes, but they're living in a more urban, they're in the city. Uh, what can they do? Is there and I'm jumping ahead of myself because I was thinking of these questions. So I'll just go ahead and put that out there and then we'll get back to the goats. If they don't have access to a farm, or let's say their employment keeps them in a city that does not have land that would allow this, is there a farm that they can, I don't want to
So
say
it does.
co-op, but buy an interest in, you know?
Yeah, so that's starting to become very popular. So that's one of the things that's happening here. Now, I'm not pitching this to anybody because I'm not ready to do this yet. I'm
Right.
still formulating it through. But there's going to be like a cow share, pig share, where on a smaller basis, and this is again getting off the farming direct thing we were just talking about. But let's say you don't want to do any of that, but you want to invest because you got all your other ducks in order, right? You want to do some other type of investing, right?
Right.
And you could come to somebody like me or somebody else that and go, hey, I want to buy 10 pigs with you, and when we go to take them to process or we sell them, I want to get half the profit. So that's an idea where you're hands off, and that's fine too. The other thing you could do is to go outside the city 25, 30 minutes, whatever is comfortable for you, and see who's got land. There's apps now on your phone that you
Right.
just pull up to somebody, and you know what they are better than I do, probably. I don't remember names, but I do have to remember my wife's name occasionally. But other than that, I don't remember names real well. But anyways,
Yeah.
there's apps on the phone. You pull up to somebody's house, and it'll tell you who lives there and how much land they have. So if you
Right.
got somebody that says, "Oh, look, Peter, Paul, and Mary live here, and they own 12 acres," and you look at it and you go, well, they sure the heck aren't using 12 acres. They're only living on the half an acre where the house is, and the rest of it is just grown up. Well, you know
Right.
what? Maybe safely walk up to the house, introduce yourself, you
Right.
know, get to know them, and maybe over a little bit of time, you can lease, $100 an acre, something
And
like
that's
that, and,
and
and
I'm so
start doing this.
And I'm so glad you said that because that's where I was going. You have the opportunity, everyone listening and watching, to lease land.
That's
It's to
right.
set in, and that's getting to the commercial side of things where a lot of the shopping malls, for example. So here in Charlotte, North Carolina, we have a really nice shopping mall called South Park. What most people don't understand is that South Park, the land that is actually owned, is not owned by whoever may own that structure. It's called a land lease. There could be a land lease with someone with a lot of acres to where now you can lease that out, and it can be, I don't know, 15, 20-year lease. Now you have your plot of land. You're not owning it, but it is yours to work, based on the terms of that lease. And I'm also thinking, Sid, there may be some people who, let's say, want to give you the money for the purchase of so many pigs and so many goats, and they're going to use those, you'll process those later, but they're giving you the money so that you're going to buy the livestock, and then you're feeding it, grooming
Correct.
it towards processing. So that's another idea for everyone, that you don't have to be a millionaire to start on these things. There are alternative ways in which to get into the game. And you
Right.
may get into the game from a leasing perspective. You may get into the game from a perspective where you're just buying the livestock and having someone to grow that livestock, feed it, nurture it, get it ready for processing. But the thing is, you're learning this whole time, right, Sid? You're learning
Correct.
about this. Okay, very good.
Yep.
Here,
Yeah.
let me put my
So there's lots of opportunities with farming, and again, I'm not trying to turn it all into an investment or turn it into you need to make this your career or this your lifestyle. It's
right.
whatever fits your lifestyle, and if it's your dream to leave whatever it is you're doing and become a full time farmer or goat raiser, I know. For example, I'll give you a real quick one. So there's I won't mention her name, but there's a girl that we know. She does sheep, and she didn't have the money to buy the land. So she found somebody, leased the land. She started out with 3 acres, put up her all non-permanent fencing, was very inexpensive for her to buy that. And she now, after 5 years, I think her herd is somewhere up over 150 to 160 of these sheep, and she's roughly
Mm.
earning about $120,000 in net a year off from these sheep.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that's for everybody. She
Right.
had a little bit of a background in sheep, so she knew, right,
Right.
some things. I'm just saying I'm using that as an example that it could be any of those things. It doesn't
But
have
it's,
to be
it's
sheep.
but it's like you said earlier, you still had a learning curve to it, and it's all about building the right team. It's all
Correct.
about, getting in position and being willing. This is a big thing, being willing to pay someone to teach you, to train you, to coach you, being willing to pay for the information. So, guess what, folks? If you don't do anything with it, now you have the knowledge of it, and it makes you a lot more resourceful. And it makes you, I would say, not only resourceful for yourself, but resourceful for other people. There's a lot of things that I know about that I'm not going to go into or invest in, what have you. Yet when I'm talking with clients, meeting prospective clients, past clients, they always seem to call me and say, "Well, Jason knows a guy, about any and everything, about buying a boat." Right? I have no intentions of buying a boat anytime soon, but I can actually point them to a person who is educated, informed, and well versed in that, so that they can get the information. So,
Yeah.
okay,
Don't
um,
forget I lived on a boat for 5 years.
that's right. I think you did. You did tell me that. That is so. Yes.
Yeah, Julie
Oh
and I
my
lived.
gosh, I forgot that.
Yeah, Julie and I lived on our yacht for 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, until almost up until we bought this property here. There was a little bit of space in between there. We had an opportunity to sell the boat that we weren't really trying to sell it, and we sold it and we moved into one of our model homes that we had built, and before we came here. But yeah, we lived on our yacht, man. It was probably one of the best 5 years of our lives, man. It was great. We loved it. We loved it. It was,
Yeah.
it was, it
And
was
I
perfect.
That's why I like interviewing you, Sid, because you are someone who's been able to achieve a very, financially blessed standing, but you have such an interesting story because you do it in very unorthodox ways. And that's kind of what I like about this book as well. When you have those
Yeah,
alternative
yeah. So
investments.
I mean, you
And
know,
yeah,
the man. We'll call it the man. I don't care what you know what I'm talking about. The
I know what
man.
you're talking about.
So they're going to force you to go to those Roth IRAs, 401ks, whatever the vehicle is, and then they're going to cap you on how much you can put in, whether it's a self-directed IRA, a regular IRA,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter, right? They control and cap all that, right? And that's great. And you should do those things, right? Because our goal in life as a young person and even into your 40s and 50s, you can still do this, right? You can still save and put away enough if you know the right people and the right things to do. You can still make it, right? But what I'm trying to say is you want to have those things because our goal is whenever that retirement is, whether it's 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 65, 70, and when me, maybe never. I don't know. But the goal is whenever that comes is to build as many streams of income along the way, right? So you want a Roth, you want an IRA, or sorry, you want a 401k, you want to have a Roth. There's two streams of income from my retirement.
Mhm.
Then you turn around, you get a private account going, right? Brooks, one of the guys that works for me here, he has that going for him now. So now he's got three separate streams of income coming in for him when he goes to his retirement. And now he's looking at maybe doing a little side business, a little side hustle, and that may create a fourth income. And that's what you're trying to do and trying to get to
Right.
that magic number of seven, right? We know what seven means, right? We all know it. Seven is the magic number.
It
It
is.
is,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
So you're trying to get the seven streams of income because well, probably by 4 or 5, what'll happen is all of a sudden you'll go, I just replaced all my income and then some. Wait a minute. I'm retiring with more money. I'm making more money now with those 5 or 6, 7 streams of income than I was when I was going to work every day. What the hell am I thinking? I'm done. I'm out. And,
And
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 if you start young enough, which
right.
Brooks is, and a bunch of other people are, and I know some of my friends are listening on here tonight, and some of you are young cats, right? You guys you have the right there. You have it right in the palm of your hand. All you got to do is pull the trigger, bust your butt, put all those streams of income together, and if you do it right, and not buy the Lamborghinis and the BMWs and have 50 million children and all this other stuff, right?
Right.
Then you're going to get there a whole lot quicker, and then the snowball effect starts to happen, right? And boom, I mean, that's a whole nother show for you and I. For me to sit down and show somebody what happens if you put $50 away. Matter of fact, if Brooks is going to come on tonight, he knows exactly this story.
Yeah.
You put a lousy 50, $100 away every month for the next amount of years with the next amount of, I mean, that's a whole show for you and I could go through to show folks that it's not that difficult.
Yeah. You're exactly right. And when we were talking on the phone the other day, I'll ask you this question very quickly, and then we'll get to the goal portion because I want to bring Brooke up, and I know you have some charts you want to go through. Um, but for the one of the shows I would love to do with you is for those. What do those people who are 40 plus do? They either didn't know or they did know and they just didn't make those financial good decision making for the first 30, 35 years. I guess not when they're a baby, but you see what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
now they're 40 years old and they're looking at their savings account and it's depressingly low. Yes, they have the 401k, but the taxes and the fees and to try to move that. What do they start now if they only had, let's say, if they could save up $10,000, they had $10,000 to their name, they're 45 years old. Give them a quick tip on where to start so they can
Well,
fortify their financial
sure.
standing.
There's a couple of options there. Now, again, you're 40 years old. You got to have a little, not luck, but you need to be around the right people that can help you get to that ultimate goal, right? You can't do it yourself. So first of all, you got to be around the right people that have already been through that obstacle course
Okay.
and kind of know how to help you get over the hurdles, right? Two, you got to be willing to do it. And what I mean by that is, cut the Starbucks out, cut the pizzas on Friday night out, cut the cigarettes back, cut the drinking back, the partying back, the
Mhm.
girls, the guys, all of that stuff. Maybe get a second job, maybe, and maybe start a side job where it's something online that's making you money. There's places you can put that $10,000 and turn around and make 12%. There's a lot of different things you can do. It's hard for me to pinpoint any one thing without literally sitting down with somebody and knowing their background and
Gotcha.
where one where they're at, and two, why are they there? Because if I don't know why they're there, I can't help them get out of the problem.
Gotcha. Yeah. So and that's great. If you have to move with a sense of urgency when
Correct.
you are 40 plus, but quickly identifying what your habits are. So you have to make changes there. Number two, identifying the circle, because one of the things that has most likely contributed to you, and I can say definitely contributed to you being not where you want to be financially, is because of the circle that you've been around and have been in. The good news and the light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of people listening who are 40 plus is that many of the millionaires were not born with the silver spoon. Many of the millionaires became millionaires over steady decision making over time. Why is this a benefit to you that are 40 plus? Because you can go to a millionaire who's 65 years old or 70 years old. I mean, they got you, by what, 20 years or whatever have you. And they may be willing to sit down with you and talk to you about what they've done. And you learning from their mistakes can help you not make the same mistakes. That helps your learning curve. And when you change the habit, especially on what you're spending, you start investing in people like Sid to where they'll teach you that'll help. And I would say, thirdly, if you're 40 plus, the more quickly you learn things, when I mean learn, you get to a point of mastery, the more quickly you'll see those results. All right, Sid. So you have let's talk a little bit about the gold. And if people want to see a part two to any side of this, definitely let us know. But
Real quick, I was going to say, just to
go ahead. Yeah.
give me a prime example. So about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, we were able to invest in a cattle farm out in Missouri. And at that time,
Okay.
we were buying cattle. So kind of the same example I gave earlier. We were buying cattle, investing in cattle, and it was costing us about $1,200 a head. At the time, that first year, we were making between 9 and 12% return on our $1,200. Okay,
So you
but
didn't
now,
have the farm, but you were buying cattle.
yeah, no,
And
I'm here in South Carolina. They're in Missouri.
okay, okay, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I'm not even getting my boots wet like I am now.
Right, right,
Right.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we're in the same program, right? And now that return, yes, we're paying a little bit more for a head of cow, but our return is even bigger now. So now we're pushing like 15, 18%. So the point, I'm not bragging. The point I'm trying to say is if you get around the right people, those things will eventually come up. And that's stuff that a 40-year-old, 35-year-old, or even a 20-year-old could. But the point was the later or the older you are, there's vehicles out there that will allow that to help you catch up. Some is what I'm trying to get
Most definitely, most definitely, because there's some
at. And
vehicles. If you were to take the $10,000 that you have and put it somewhere, it may be, excuse me, that you just don't see it growing. Is not really making an impact. You're not seeing return that you like, but getting with people like Sid. So definitely go to sidchase.com, sydchase.com, and he can tell you about these alternative investment things, because you could take that $10,000 and get into livestock and start making a return out of that. And most people would not have even thought about that. Hey, I could take this $10,000 and go into goats, pigs, chickens, quails, or cows. And wow, so most definitely. Or I could buy land that's way out there. And then once I purchase the land, I can maybe lease it out to someone like a Sid or someone else wanting to use it for vegetation, wanting to use it for livestock. So yeah, awesome. Okay, Sid. So
that's a good.
let's
I
get
was
to
just
the
gonna say,
goal.
yeah,
Say
sorry,
what now?
sorry. I'm all excited. I'm looking at the gold chart here, and I'm thinking to myself, man, if somebody had enough knowledge about metals in general, right, and said
Right.
to themselves, look at this. Now you're not going to pick this bottom right here. You're just it's very hard to pick bottoms. Like, I do it sometimes, but it's difficult to do. But had you invested $10,000 right here at $1,600 an ounce, and and if you happen to be sticking through all of this uptrend, back downtrend, there's no reason for you to sell right here. You would have held again, and you would have caught this run up. And now we'll just say we're at $2,400. So what is that? Almost $1,000, not quite $800, something like that return on 10,000 bucks.
Oh wow. And over what time period was that?
Yeah. Oh, that whole yeah. Hold on, let me get my thing out here. So if you'd have bought, let's just say you'd have bought on this candle right here, and you still own it right now. That's a 37.22% return. It's right
Over
there.
what time frame?
From uh, 01/11/22 to 01/07/24.
Okay.
So two
Awesome.
years.
So people hear gold, silver in passing on the news, stock market. Why should people consider, investing in gold, especially because this is an investment that you'll probably never hold in your hands, right? You can buy a certain amount of gold, you'll never see it, you'll never touch it. Why should people invest in gold?
So there's a couple of reasons, right? So I've been in gold as man 30, 40 years. I've been in and out of gold. I treat gold in a few different categories. So I have physical gold, so I can touch my gold anytime I want. I keep an amount of gold around me that I feel that if '08 happens again or something else happens and I can't use my credit card or I can't whatever, right? Like I can't use I just can't, I even have gold backs, right? I can shop with gold backs. That's another story. But anyways, there's things called gold backs now. So you want that for physical in case the old crap movement happens. And you can buy, sell, and trade with it. Okay. Number two, you want it to invest in gold, the minors, the juniors, and the seniors. That's actual stocks. There's ETFs that you can invest in. There's gold backs that you can invest in. And there's and you could trade it. So I trade my gold through a company called Cyber Metals, and
Okay.
it's very easy to trade. You set up your account, you put your money in there, you push a couple of buttons, and you own either gold or silver. And I think the other one they do is palladium. Now that I use that platform to strictly trade the stock, so I'm actually trading it. The other way I trade it is through what you're seeing right here through the gold futures, and then I also buy stocks, gold and metal stocks, we'll say, for long term plays. And I usually buy those that have dividends so that I'm getting paid while I'm holding
Okay.
the stock. Yep.
And real quick comment, Brooke Davis says, uh, and Brooke, if you can come on, just message me in the private chat. He said that he has a baby with him eating dinner right now. But what Sid is saying is very true. He got me set up with trading, and I got my Roth IRA started. Has not taken long to build a small base and feel more comfortable financially. Just like you guys are saying, those baby steps grow bigger and bigger. So that's Brooke Davis. And Brooke, we don't mind the baby being there. If you just want to jump on just for a quick minute, just send me a quick note in the private chat. We'll immediately bring you up and then let you get back to that. Okay, so you have those avenues um, for the gold. These are different ways that you can get into it. You can invest in it, meaning buying it on the market. You have some around. Some of it you're getting paid via dividends, et cetera, et cetera. And gold has been over time immemorial always, I would say, the most stable investment. I shouldn't say stable, but it's consistent over time, right? Gold has always gone up. it will continue to go up. It'll always be traded, kind of a thing.
That is correct. It's been there since I think it came in right after the seashells or something, and it never went away, and it's still here. You know, so I got this chart up, and I'm just trying to clear it up real quick here. Just
Okay.
I want to show a few things to folks. Now, when I talk about trading, what I'm talking about is longer term, either swing trades, which are you're holding it overnight up to maybe a month or so, and then there's long term trades, which is a stock that you're going to buy that's going to pay you a decent dividend, maybe 4 or 5%, 3%, maybe 8 or 9%,
Okay.
depends. Some pay monthly, some pay quarterly, right? So right now, what I did is I liquidated some of my stock portfolios and about a year ago or so, and I started putting them in money market accounts. The reason I did that is because the interest rates were going up. So I'm actually making over 5% on my cash accounts now, just sitting there doing nothing, and I really don't have anything for them to, there's nothing. They're not going to go down unless the government fails, and if the government fails, we're all up shit's creek, right?
Right.
So, there's you gotta know the vehicles, right? So,
Now,
anyways,
how much
go ahead.
does someone need to get into investing in gold? We know that millionaires have done this for since time immemorial. So everyone listening, gold is definitely something you can start with. You may not know all the ins and outs of every single company in terms of buying stock. I know a lot of people start buying stock just in, I guess, I know with kids that started young, which was great. They liked Nike, so they bought Nike stock or something. But how much or how little does someone need to get started investing in gold?
An ounce of gold is traded right now for 24.09 for 50 cents, right? So if you go to some of the other platforms that are out there, they'll let you buy partials of those, so you
Okay.
can get in for as little as nothing. Now that's you buying a whole ounce of gold, right? So if you go to silver, the silver chart, right? Just let me switch that over real quick. Hold on. So if you go to the silver chart, silver's trading at $29 today. So it's easy for people to start off with getting silver as they build their silver stack up. Then you start trading your silver in for ounces of gold.
And if someone, let's go back to not necessarily 40 years older, but someone with very little, you know, stockpile or savings, what have you, it would not be a foolish thing if they started driving Uber, Lyft in order to get a couple more dollars. And with that money they've made, start buying gold, start buying silver, start buying copper, etc. That would actually be a smart thing, would it not?
That is, it would be. I mean, I could remember. Well, I shouldn't say I can remember because it's it's in my blood, right? Even though I know where I'm at in life, right, financially, but I'm still out there. And Brooks will testify to this because Brooks and I know each other, and there's other people on here. I'm a hustler. I'm out to hustle and make money, right? And I do side stuff all the time. Not, I build houses and I have a brokerage firm and I have all this other stuff going on, right? But I'm still on the side hustling, like with the car. I get paid to take the car places, right?
Right.
And just it doesn't justify the payment of the car, but it doesn't matter. I had to buy the car anyways. So, well, maybe I didn't have to, but you know what I mean. But
Right. Right.
but anyways, yeah. So just do something that hustles I have a friend in New York City. He was an ex-army buddy of mine, actually coming down to visit this weekend, George. And well, he got out of the army. He was trying to figure out being working for the water department in New York City, then the police
Mhm.
department, and then the fire department where he's at now. But on the side, on the weekends he was out there hustling and taking old boilers out of the basements of these places in New York City and making
Really?
a few $100 every day. And he was taking that money and he was, investing it, paying down his bills, investing it. And then at one point, after a little while, he had enough saved up that he was able to invest with me in real estate. And I think, gosh, George has been investing with me for, oh my goodness, maybe 15, 20 years now.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Right. And so that's a good example. And I know David Provost. I don't know if he's listening tonight or not, but David, he's a hustler too, man. He's out there doing his property management stuff, and his wife's out there hustling for. She does a little chicken thing on the side, right? She goes and finds these chickens. I'm not going to give up the ghost on her because she'll beat me up if she sees me this
Right.
weekend. But she
Right.
goes out and pulls this magical thing with these chickens, right? And then she turns around and sells some, trades some. And Dave's out there, doing his property management thing, but on the side, he's doing other things, hustling, paying down his bills, and working towards investments. And that's what it's all about. And we talked about that earlier in the show, man. You got to have a drive. You got to want it. And if it's not for you, do it for your kids. Do it for somebody, right? Build a legacy. You know me, and I'm all about building a legacy. But what
Right.
I want to really cover is to show people how I chalk up this chart real quick. And you can do this to any chart. If anybody's out there listening tonight and wants me to look at a chart for them, Brooks or anybody, just put it into the chats, and Jason will
Most
tell me, and
definitely.
I'll pull it up here, and I'll mark it up. But let's mark up this gold one real quick, right? Because
Sure.
it's all
Go
about
ahead.
support, resistance, and trend lines, right? I don't have any other lines on my chart really, except for these dotted lines, and that's really insignificant to this conversation, right? So I just take my stuff and I'm going to go, okay, here's the support right here. Oop, sorry. Maybe again. There we go. And there's support. So it hit right here, hit right here, hit right here. Then I'm going to take this line here. I'm going to go from here up to here. And then from here back down to here. And then this one. And then this one. And then I'll put a little love under this one. There.
And I'm looking at this chart. I could definitely see that for those who are getting excited about, hey, start buying gold. This is the long term play, right?
Correct.
Brooke says, I don't trade gold too often, but maybe you can pull up the silver chart. Another chart that was looking good to me was natural gas. So I
Okay.
think you saw those. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So basically, what we're doing here is you notice how I'm drawing these trend lines. So when you get,
Right.
let's say this is your point of starting right here, right? And it goes back up. So there's point one. And then when you get another point, see how it bounces off that line and then it moves a
Right.
little bit and then it moves a little bit more. So every time it hits this line and doesn't break through it and close below it, you
Right.
want to go long. You're buying. You're a buyer. You're a buyer all the way through here, right?
Okay.
And then here, here's a big red mark. It comes back up, retests the line. So now you draw your line out, and it hits it here, comes back up, hits it here, and what happens? As soon as it hits it, there's a big red bar, and it comes back down again. And then the same thing here, it crosses over, gives you a retest, and it
Right.
goes right back up again. So I know I'm doing a short version of this, and I'm not explaining it, and I'll be more than happy to take the time to explain it to anybody who wants to get a hold of me. And I'm not charging anything for doing this. I'll just show you how to do it, walk you through it. But you can literally trade it. Every candle is 1 day, right? And
Okay.
I can change that to now every candle is 1 hour, right? Or I can change it to every candle is 1 week. I like to
Mhm.
do the daily. So you can literally trade these trend lines, right? So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
let's go look at what Brooks was calling. I think Brooks said
Natural
natural gas.
gas and silver.
Natural gas. All right, let's look at natural gas. So here's natural gas. And so I left these blank just so that I could do these up here.
And
Uh,
what app what platform are you using
I'm
for your
using TradeView.
trade view? Okay.
Yep. So basically you come across you went up, you failed again, you didn't make it over this last high. So right here would be so right there, as soon as you got this red candle and
Right.
this candle here did not break through on a daily, you should be shorting right there. Had you shorted, you'd have caught all of this.
Right.
right?
And for those listening, when you're shorting, that means you're really betting against uh, the market in a sense.
Yeah,
What do we see
you're
the
betting that
movie?
you're betting that the vehicle goes down, right?
Correct.
Shorting
And that was
is
the movie The Big Short, I think is the title of it, which is
correct.
really good. I've watched it twice, and but that was amazing. But yeah, okay, so natural gas. So um, getting with you once again, you can reach Sid at sidchase.com, SYD chase.com, and you'll go over the charts, the platforms, your techniques, what you're looking for, when to, as you would say, short the market versus investing in it because you think it's going to go up, right?
Yep. Yeah. So if you would have just came here and said, I'm looking at natural gas. I'm going all the way back to last, what is it? Last April, I think. Yep. So you see this green line right here. So here's a
Uh-huh.
bunch of support right here.
Right.
There's a retest of that support. And then we took off. We didn't quite get back to it right here. Here, look at, we found this support again, but then it broke through, right? Then it came back up through it, right? Comes up, goes back down, and look where it hits. Now, I didn't draw that green line. It appears because of the software that I use. And look
Gotcha.
what it did. It literally hit that right there. It is. There it is. There it is.
Right.
Support, support, and it hits it. So right here, you should have went long. Now, I didn't. I did not take this trade, right?
Okay.
But I'm just saying to Brooks, you should be long. You should have went long right there, right on that support level. Got that quick pop. What is that? That's hold on one second. That is that's a 10% return in 1, 2, 3 days, 4 days.
Oh, wow.
10% in 4 days.
Okay.
Yep.
And
So
would
go ahead.
you consider the different investments here to individually be their own stream? Or because I know you said get to your point where 7 streams of income. Are you considering each one of these different stocks or whatever have you as a particular stream? Or is this all cataloged into one stream, meaning the market, and then you have another one in real estate, another one livestock, whatever?
So the way I don't consider each one of these individuals, like, so I invest in silver, I invest in gold, I do a little bit of copper, and then I do individual stocks, and I do ETFs, and I do a money market account. Okay, I don't treat each one of them as a stream. I mean,
Okay.
you could, if you were that picky, or whatever you want to call it, you could. But what I like to do is lump them into my portfolios. So I have
Yeah,
three
that's what I
different
was thinking.
portfolios,
Exactly.
and each
Right.
one of my portfolios does something different for me. And that portfolio then becomes a stream of income for me.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So let's say you had, hypothetically, let's say you had $10,000 in cash, and that you're putting in a money market account. So on that $10,000, if you're in the right money market account, you're going to make about 5.25% right now. So that's a stream of income within your portfolio. So
Mhm.
that cash could be a separate one. But then you go over here and you say, I got a metals portfolio, and I got a regular dividend portfolio. Really,
Right.
that's all the two you kind of need, and those are different streams of income,
Gotcha.
not in each individual stock.
Right. Not in each individual stock. Okay. Very good. Um, no, I just think that's great information for a lot of people. And how much for are we looking at silver now? How much was silver is it trading at today? You
So
said?
silver today, it's right now it's at 29.38 and a half cents, $29 basically. So again, I've been trading silver for a very long time. I've traded it a lot longer than I have gold. I do trade gold. I do keep gold physical. I do own gold stocks,
Mhm.
and I trade it daily. But well, I shouldn't say daily. I kind of trade it I trade gold and silver on swing trades when I use this chart that you're seeing right now.
Okay.
But um, my long term goal that I have, or in silver, I've been in silver since it was, well, the first time around I was in at $4, $5 an ounce. And when it ran to 30 something, I accumulated a bunch of it, and I
Oh,
was able
wow.
to sell it. And actually, I think it was more than $35. I think it was 40 something. And I turned that in. I turned that cash into enough money to do my one of my first flip houses. Is what I did with that money,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And now I'm back in silver again, and I started buying it up at $14 a while back. Excuse me, a while back I started buying it at $14, and I'm still in. I'm still riding it. And same with gold. I think I got into gold. Let me go back here real quick to the chart, but I think I was in gold. Let's see here. February 24 to October. Right here. So right here, I started investing back into gold when I had three bottoms right there. It couldn't break through, couldn't break down through that 1500 number. And
Right.
so I started nibbling right there.
I see what you're saying.
Right here, if you look at the bigger chart, there's a little bit of support confusion right here, picks it up here. So I started nibbling right in here again. And I started buying this all the way up. And I've been slowly buying, even on these downturns, I buy more. The same thing, I bought in here, and I put this line in here a while back. And I said to myself, it comes down into here, I'm going to buy again. And but you got to, but with this, I'm not worried about if it goes down because I don't care. I'm trying to accumulate.
Right.
Is
You're
what I'm
still
doing
looking
is
for long play.
accumulate.
Right.
That's right. Completely a long play on this one. Right. Yep.
Okay. Right. So, uh, for those listening and watching, gold has proven itself to be a great investment. He's talked about silver. There's other options, copper, natural gas, but you can have a metals portfolio. Then you can have another portfolio that's dividends, which means you're buying stock in a company and getting paid those dividends, correct, Sid?
That is correct. Yeah, actually, at some point down the road, if you'd like, I think it'd be great to do a show if we get enough interest on how to create a dividend portfolio,
Okay.
right?
Let's do
Of
that.
either stocks that we can market this and people can put in. Hey, here's my top five dividends that I have now. What do you think
Okay.
about that? Or what would be your top five picks or seven picks of dividend stocks you want? And I can evaluate everybody else's and see if they're maybe they have five dividend stocks, but two of them do the exact same thing.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah. We can do that.
one of them's got to go, right?
Yeah.
So
We could do that.
and then and maybe what we could do is build one and then show them on a chart how it works if you keep putting money in and how that money grows, and at some point that snowball then what I call people call snowballing, but I call them soldiers. And these little soldiers, these little dollar bills that you have, these stocks are all considered soldiers, and they're out there working for you and making you more money and more money. But you got to keep adding those soldiers and employees on so that they can do that for you. And that's how you look at it. So it's kind of like almost having a business, right? It's like you being a broker and you got all these agents under you, doing what they need to do, and that's how you get paid. Well, it's the same thing if you go to work for Dollar General, right? You're their employee, you're making them money, right? So you folks need to think about what can I do out there that turn them into employees for me that maybe I don't have to manage so much, or I don't have to get my boots wet, and I don't want to go walking around the pig slop all day long like Sid does, right? But what are the other things that I can do to turn those things into soldiers or employees and keep adding those things to me so that they start making me money, and at some point that it starts to snowball.
Right. Now, I think that's excellent, Sid, because when you call the dollar soldiers, that's the exact same terminology. I can't remember exactly what episode it was, but it was a conversation with a millionaire. He's going to be at the millionaire dinner. I'll be advertising that uh, coming up soon for everyone. That's going to be in October, where we'll have 5 millionaires there, closed private dinner, very intimate question and answer session discussion. But that's what he said. He said each dollar he makes is like a soldier, and he's putting that soldier or a worker, he's putting it to work. And that is what I am finding to be consistent in the mindset of millionaires in my interviews and conversations with them. Number one, none of these millionaires have got to $1 million net worth, and then decided to move to a beach, kick back, and drink coladas all day. No, none of the millionaires do that. They're always on to the next thing. It becomes a part of their being to find opportunities. It's an adventure for some. Others, it's like hunting. For others, this is their business, which is what you said, Sid. You may not want to be an entrepreneur. I know that's very romanticized. And if that's your dream, go for it. Don't let me stop you. I wouldn't try to. However, investing can be ran like a business, is what Sid is saying. You may not have a business selling apparel, baking cakes, cleaning chimneys. I'm dating myself by saying cleaning chimneys. I sound like Mary Poppins here. But nonetheless, you can have portfolios that you're building, creating, and you stay on top of those bad boys like a business. And the great thing about it is that you don't have to pay taxes on employees.
Right. And yeah, and all the other stuff that goes with that, all the drama and everything else, right?
Yeah.
So we both know that. We have
Oh
lots
yeah.
of
Oh yeah.
employees,
For sure. For
so
sure.
but it really can be anything that you can think of. Like for the goats. If you for me, it's not just the goats; it's the Duroc pigs, it's the turkeys, right? It's the quail, right? So I got quail. Right? They're the easiest thing in the world to take care of. Everybody's fanatic about wanting to buy quail right now, and quail eggs and pickling quail and quail eggs and all of this stuff, right? And so I did quail mostly because I wanted to feed myself because I like to eat quail, right?
Okay.
And then the next thing I know, I got people calling me up and going, "Hey, can I buy some quail from you? Can I get quail eggs? Do you pickle quail? I'd like to get some pickled quail." And that all of a sudden now, that's turned into a business for me. I think
Because you
this
didn't
is
even know, that demand was there, but because you moved on it for yourself, the
it,
demand for that made itself known to you,
right,
right?
correct, correct.
So
So
money comes to you.
that
Money
is right,
comes to you.
right. Nobody. It's a fine line about what I'm saying. It's like a gray area, right? But you don't chase money, right? If you do things right, it will come to you.
Right.
And there'll be times when it doesn't come to you, right? And that's just a cycle of life that you have to go through. You have to go through the punches, the left hooks, the rope a dope, the whole 9 yards, right?
Right.
Wow, I just dated myself when I said the rope a dope, didn't I? Holy smokes. Now, my man Ali right
I knew
there.
I knew what you were saying.
Wow. Anyways, we gotta go through this cycles of life, and they're up and they're down. And when they're down, that's when you need the A team around you, right? Oh, there again. There I am dating myself again with the A team, right? You need the A team around you, right? And when
Right.
life is good, you need to be treating those people that are around you, giving them kudos and doing things for them and teaching them when you're up, because when you're up, you're up. Some of that is because of them, and some of it's because of you not giving up, right? But you need to I don't know. This stuff doesn't sounds bad, but when you're up, you need to start giving the crumbles of bread or whatever you want to call it, right?
Right.
The pesos or the dollars, the coins, whatever it is, out to the other people below you. Then raise them up, because hello, if you raise them up, you raise yourself up too.
Right.
I
Right.
sound
Oh
like
yeah,
TV.
most definitely. And not only that, and this is not to sound self-serving or like a selfish martyr, but when you raise others up, you're also creating a base of people who are thankful to you, and you're creating a community yourself that should something befall you, you now have a community that's going to be more willing to help you,
That's
more
right.
willing to be there for
Yep.
you. Why? Because you were there for them.
Yep.
And, you know, and the fact that you can just take $50 a week, $100 a week, and start implementing what Sid has talked about tonight, I hope it'll be very encouraging. For those who are young, start doing this now. The hardest thing is to watch so many, it's an opportunity cost, right? When you make a decision, you're also giving up other things. And it's hard to watch a lot of those things pass you by. I know it's hard. I've been there, done that, Sid has been there and done that. However, I can tell you, being 40 plus, that most of the distractions, shall we call them, that I preoccupied my time with, my money with, my resources with, didn't matter at all. Turns out
Right.
it didn't matter in the long run. And had I been willing to suffer the shame or the embarrassment and make better decisions 20 years ago, I know though I'm in a good place, I could be in a much better place.
Right.
The encouraging things for those who are 40 plus is that most likely, if you're in decent health and can maintain that, my prayer is that everyone can do that. Let's say you got another 40 years to go, right? So let's make the next 20 years the years that you buckle down, you're going to be consistent, and you're going to go after it like a bull from the no bull guy, right?
Yeah, and just reiterate real quick on a couple of things. Number one is when you, I know people are out there probably going, I do, I try to lift up everybody around me, and there's still losers in the pile. Yep, there is. It's just the way it is, folks. It's just going to be some there, and you
Right.
just got to shide them off as quickly as possible. Put them at arm's length, right? The other thing I want you to think about is that if you go back in history and you look at all the millionaires, like really true millionaires, Dave from Wendy's, Bezos, Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs,
There's a
yeah.
bunch of them, right?
Warren Buffett.
All of those guys didn't become millionaires until they were in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, and some of them didn't do it until they were in their 60s,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's a good
Because
observation.
if you're not in the game, the light bulb can't ever come on.
Mhm. And it's really like, and I know there's been some criticism to what I'm about to say in terms of this rule, but there is something to it. When it is, let's say that if I could guarantee the viewer or the listener that you'll be a millionaire in this particular area after you've completed your 10,000 hours. You've heard that rule, 10,000
Yep.
hours, right, Sid?
Hmm.
It's just all about when you start that
Right.
first hour of the 10,000, right? Some have started in their 20s because they were just that driven and or focused, or they were just that lonely. Some people actually, that's how they got into it, Sid. They were lonely. They weren't the cool kid, the cool guy, the cool girl, whatever. They doubled down into something and it caught on. Amazon, you should read about, for those listening and watching, Amazon didn't make a profit for like the first crazy number of years. So 10,000 hours, if I could guarantee you $1 million after 10,000 hours, I would probably have to beg some of you all to go to sleep because you would be tracking and trying to run up, get those 10,000 hours done as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Well, what if I could tell you that maybe you're not a millionaire, but let's say you're half a millionaire. You have a net worth of 500 plus after the 10,000 hours. Would you do it? And and like I said, there's been, some critiques on that. And I get all that. However, what I have seen, regardless of the age of some of the millionaires that Sid mentioned, that's what I see. A 10,000 hour commitment, a 10,000 hour commitment mindset. And you can cut that amount of hours down. It may not take you 10, it can only take you may only take you 8 with the alleviation of distractions
Hmm.
and bad habits. All right. So Sid's not going to say it. I'm going to say it. Guys, addictions slow you down. Addictions are stealing your hours. Hanging around people who are not with this mindset, who do not have this mindset, are stealing your hours. Think of it like that. Um, Worrying about keeping up with the Joneses is stealing your hours. There's a reason why so many athletes and entertainers that come into so much money are all broke within so many years after they leave that sport or that stage. Isn't it statistic, Sid? You probably heard this, that something crazy like 85% of the lottery winners are like broke within the first. It's like
within the
it's like
first
a
within the
huge,
first year.
yeah, yeah. It's like a huge
I,
number the first year. Some make it at year number two. Very few make it to year number three, where the money's gone because the habits weren't there, the right circle
right,
wasn't there, the patience wasn't there. You want to know how quickly someone. Let me say this. Look at how quickly someone spends their money. Most likely, that's an indication of how quickly they made it.
correct. Yeah, I can think of three lottery winners that I personally know, people I knew that won
Really,
over $1 million. Three people.
really.
Three people. One of those people, I won't mention her name at all, but one of those people won twice and has zero, zero, nothing, gone. Both of them gone.
No way.
Yes. Yep. And right off the
Lightning
top of
struck
my
them twice, and
twice.
and it's
Yeah.
and it's and there's nothing to show for it.
Nada. Zero. Yeah. Zero. Yep. And again, I would never mention names. It's totally confidential. But because
Right.
of the circle of people that I'm in and the investors that I deal with in in all over the world, in sports, professional and non-professional, but I can name probably. I'm not going to name them, but I can think of six people off the top of my head that were in a professional sport who no longer they lost everything
Yeah.
that they made. They had to
Oh yeah.
start all over again from scratch. And there was nothing wrong with them particularly. It was the fact that nobody taught them what to do. Number one, and number two, they didn't think they were going to get injured, or they didn't think that they would ever get traded, or whatever it was. Right? They
Right.
never thought that would happen. Oh, I'm going to be here for 10 years or 5 years or whatever the magic number is for whatever that sport is, and they
Right.
just didn't make that. And so they went out and spent all the money, and they got a 2 million, 3 million, $4 million contract. Just a few years back. Some of them, a couple of them I know were just a few years ago, and they had $15 million contracts, and they have zero.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, because you're very few people are life proof.
right. And that
You're
goes for
in a
you and me
financial
too.
place where you're life proof. I think Grant Cardone said a good number to where you can pretty much handle whatever comes your way, whether it's a health issue, a shutdown moment, a lawsuit, is like 20 million.
Yep.
He said you get to 20 million, you're pretty much proved. Now, there's no amount of money that can cure
Which right,
a health issue. We understand that, and our
right.
prayers go out to those with health issues. But you see what I'm saying, Sid?
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to mention one thing real quick, and I've done this. I did this when I was younger, and I've taught a couple of people to do this, and they've done real well with it. If you're out there and you're looking for a side hustle and you want to make $2 a minute, that's right, $2 a
Two
minute.
dollars a minute.
What's that? How much is that an hour?
Yeah, so $2 a minute. That's going to be 60 minutes, so $120.
Where are you going to make that? You're going to make it sitting your ass on the lawnmower, charging $2 a minute to mow somebody's lawn. That's the going rate. Sometimes it's three and four now. $2 a minute.
You
Go
went
buy
old
yourself
school on Sid. You went old school on them.
Go buy yourself a lawnmower, a nice little Cub Cadet riding zero turn thingamajigger. Get
Mhm.
yourself one on a payment plan, whatever. Get yourself a trailer, hook it up to whatever vehicle you got, and start hitting the neighborhood. And I
Yeah,
guarantee you'll have I guarantee you, but you got to hustle. But you'll have 15 or 20 runs. Next thing you know, you're making $2 a minute. The first thing you do is pay your trailer off, pay your lawnmower off, and everything after that is going for investments.
right. And that's one of the things. Another element that's been consistent for a lot of the millionaires I've had on this podcast is the old school stuff is solid because it's a mindset at its root. But the old school stuff, I was showing a property to a young couple, really nice couple, and we were in a nice neighborhood. And I saw it just did my heart so much good when I saw this. I'm about to tell you. And it's a nice neighborhood, people walking their dogs and jogging like life has no problems. And as I'm turning the corner onto the street, I see on the corner a lemonade stand. And you can
Exactly.
tell the mother was probably out there with the son and the daughter. And the second thing I saw about this lemonade stand that did my heart even more good was the neighbors were stopping by and buying lemonade.
Right. Yep.
And I
So
kid you not, if I did not have to rush to another appointment because that one took longer, I had already made up in my mind just because the kids were doing that, I was going to stop by and buy some lemonade.
so I have a customer. Her name's Jennifer. She comes in every 2 3 weeks, buys turkeys, chickens, eggs, whatever she buys from me. Her daughter is 10 or 11 years old, and I'm sorry, honey, but I can't remember your name off the top of my head right now. But she's out there and she's making these little jewelry things. That's it. She's hustling out there making these little bracelets. And I
Mm.
bought, I don't know how many I bought from her, right? And she's out there doing her thing. And that's where it all starts, man. That's
Yeah.
grassroots right there.
And,
And
and,
it's
and people
great to
can
see
call
it.
it a pity purchase. I don't care. Kids, if you're listening, you're in the best position because unless that adult is just totally doesn't have the means and hopefully they get there soon or they're just totally a butthole, adults can't say no to kids
Right.
a lot of times. I don't know
Exactly.
how many adults can say no to a lemonade stand. Now let's jump for those and then I'll wrap it up here. I saw wasn't a kid, it was an adult, and she was near the gym that I work out at, and she had a lemonade stand.
Mm.
It was an adult with a lemonade stand. The interesting thing with this lemonade stand, when I guess she had different syrups or something,
Okay.
so you
Yeah.
could have
Yeah.
different flavors, right?
Yep.
And it was set out in front of two department stores. So they had that, the sidewalk's pretty deep between the parking lot and the entry of the department stores doors, and she had it out there. And I haven't seen her for a minute, but I think that's probably because she made enough money to scale up.
Yep.
How many individuals and stories did we heard of someone started cooking in their kitchen, that turned into a food truck, that turned into a bricks and mortar,
Yeah, and let
you
me
know?
just kick back into on that lawnmower thing real quick, and then we can roll up the or roll down the shade or whatever you want to call it and call it a night. But go into that lawnmower thing. So you get the lawnmower, right? And then you make the money, you start making money. Next thing you know, you're buying another trailer. And then maybe you're buying a small tractor with a disc on the back or a bush hog. And then maybe you move up and you're buying a small tractor or an excavator. And next thing you know, you have a rental company and you're renting these things out and you're making money. Excavators, on average, excavator will make anywhere between on a rental $700 to $800 a day.
Right, for the one you had told me about, right?
That I bought my excavator
Mm.
and I took my money that I made from the market and I go, hey, wait a minute. I need an excavator for my farm, first of all, right?
Mhm.
So how
Right.
can I justify the purchase? Because at the farm, it's not making me any money, right? It's saving me money, but it's not really making me money. So I said, well, I'm going to take some of the money out of my investments that I made in the stock market and I'm going to put down on an excavator. I'm going to buy it, and now I'm renting it out probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh,
And
wow.
I go do extra jobs on it. So the point, I'm not trying to show off. I'm just the point of you start small and you work your way up to something else.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, the No Bull Guy, Sid Chase Sr. Check out his book, Your No Bull Guide, Making Money with Alternative Investments, and also the classic book. Yes, that is his hairstyle. Check it out. Look at him. He don't look like that today. The
No,
No Bull real estate book. This was a little thicker than this one. But Sid Chase, the noble guy, high in demand, published author, and the highest, I wouldn't say compliment, but the highest title I can give him is a man of generosity, a
I
family
appreciate
man, a man who loves his wife, a man of generosity who I met at a card show. And since then, I'm just going to call him my friend.
that.
I'm going
Amen
to
to
call
that.
Sid Chase Sr. my friend. He has always been the same guy since I've met him. He's been consistent, he's been generous, he's been honest, and hats off to you, sir. We are going to do that podcast. I like that idea about creating the dividends portfolio. So you and I will connect. What are we in July now? So maybe October. You want to maybe do that in October?
Yeah, just let me know. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But
I'm actually, I probably should have asked you this before I'm saying it, but I'm very seriously thinking about doing my own show again,
you
and
should.
I'm seriously thinking about it.
I'm gonna
So
keep having you on here until you do your own, bro. Because
okay,
I'm
I'll
gonna
have
tell
you
you,
on mine then.
you need your own show, Sid. You need
I,
your own
I,
show, brother.
I appreciate that.
I'm trying to tell you, man. And because yeah, you need your own show, bro. I'm just
Sounds
gonna
like a
leave it at that.
plan.
All right,
Hey,
guys. So have a good night, Sid. Thank you so much, brother.
you're welcome, sir. I appreciate it. Love the hat.
Oh yeah, you like that, man?
Yeah, well, you took it out of my garage the other day. That's my dang hat.
You know, it's the Peaky Blinders kind of thing going on here, man. You know, I'm trying to be cool like the Sid man. So once again, thank you everybody for joining in. We are going to close this down here. Sid Chase, no bull guy. We're gonna bring him back. You better get with him now because I'm gonna tell you, once he has his own show, it's over. It's over. He's gonna blow up. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking. He's gonna blow up like a goat. Anyway, I'm not gonna get all nasty. But anyway, all right, people, have a good night. Sid, tell the wife I said hello. This so much, and y'all be blessed. See ya.